And what I notice is that your practice session, you're in a completely different eyes off state
Yep,
versus
nailing it.
a competition round. So
Yes.
when you see players warming up, a lot of players use their ear pods, AirPods, or whatever, and they're practicing and they're listening to music to get in a trance, and they're getting in a flow. And they don't have any kind of nervousness. They don't have any kind of excitement, no adrenaline. Their sympathetic nervous system isn't activated. I mean, they're just throwing balls and they're just calm, easy. It's a very relaxed state, and they're nailing it. They're hitting it. They're just dialed in. All of a sudden, they get called on the tee box and they're playing in their competition round. They don't have their music anymore. And all of a sudden, they're seeing all the stimulus, all these crowds, and all of a sudden, your heart rate is elevated. It's a completely different energy level, arousal level than you were on the practice range. And if you're practicing at a low eyes off state and you were hitting it really well, and all of a sudden you don't have those things to get you in that low state, and you're performing at a peak kind of energy, like your adrenaline is going, sympathetic nervous system is activated, all that stuff is going, all of a sudden you're in a completely different state and you don't know how to react in that moment. So here's the thing. You gotta practice your optimal zone, identify it, and be in it when you practice. Because when you can identify it and be in it when you practice, then you can easily mirror and translate a little bit more gracefully into the competitive rounds. Number one step is to, it's almost like recall a previous peak performance state and round that you had in competition. So
Correct.
remember that. And then step number two is write down what you were thinking, what you were experiencing, what emotions were coming up for you during those states. Like, what were you feeling? Right? Just write some words down, or what were you thinking? What were you focused on? Try to see if you can write down phrases or words that come to mind when you think about a peak performance competition round that you had.
Yeah, and the thing to jog your memory, because you might not remember exactly what you were thinking, but the funny thing about your your brain is it operates the same way all of the time unless you change it. So if you were to go back and think about that performance, and maybe it's just one swing that you want to write out that swing and that peak swing from with all of the detail, like where were you at, like what club were you using, what was the wind doing, right? Starting to use a little bit of imagery, and the more in depth you can start to write that out, it's going to start to trigger those same kind of thought patterns and that same emotion and that same feeling, and you might even start to notice yourself getting into eyes off while you're sitting there writing.
Nice.
The brain is so powerful. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And then for me, step three, after we write out that script of peak performance in competition, number three would be to bring that out to the practice range and to mirror it, to mimic it, and see if you can
Yeah.
practice walking into that script, almost like reading it. And then you're on the practice range, you read it, and then you mimic it. It's almost like you're an actor in a movie, and you read your script, and then you pause for a moment and take it in, and you become that actor, and you step into that scene, and you mirror that, those emotions, those thoughts, those focuses, trying to get into that eyes off on practice so that we can mirror that going into competition.
Yeah, I think then the step forward would be just to do that for 18 holes,
Yeah.
right? You're out there on the practice facility, you pull that sheet out, take a look at it, embody it, appreciate the fact that you're standing there about to be able to hit some golf balls and do the thing that you love. The next thing you know, you become, I don't know, Jonathan Loper, whoever you are, right? You
Yeah.
become that person that you see being the best golfer out there, and you just take that confidence with you off the tee. That peak performance is right there because you're doing it. You're in your eyes off, and you're ready to crush it.
Yeah. Ready to crush it. Great. So I want to recap on the acronym that you created with your children, being a boss of your own life. I love it. I think it's awesome to look yourself in the mirror and saying, I am the boss of my own life. I'm brave.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I'm smart, and I'm strong, and I can do anything. And
Nailing it.
literally, you look in the mirror and you say that to yourself. If you can do that once a day in the mirror, just get in the habit of saying affirmations to yourself while you're looking at yourself, because you deserve it. You deserve it. In this world, there's no one else that's going to do it for you. So being able to be the boss of your own life.